Coalition of Southeast Youth Leaders, COSEYL, has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to Fulani herdsmen residing in Enugu State to vacate the land. The coalition, in a statement issued on Wednesday by its President General Goodluck Ibem, expressed concerns over alleged killings and rapes by suspected Fulani herdsmen in Iya Amufu, Iziuzo, LGA of the state. Ibem described the activities of the alleged herdsmen as wicked, nefarious, and satanic, saying the coalition condemns it in its entirety. According to him, the so-called Fulani herdsmen are not herdsmen but terrorists who are on a land-grabbing mission, stressing that there is no correlation between the rearing of cattle and the killing of innocent human beings on their own town. In their own town, I'm sorry. The good people of Enugu have complained enough about these killings and rapes, and it's time for the governor, Chief Peter Mba, who is the chief security officer of the state and the chief of defense staff, to arrest these perpetrators and prosecute them accordingly. We call on the youth of Iheamufu, Iziozo, LGA, and other communities in Enugu state and the southeast states to wake up from their slumber and sack killers, Fulani terrorists, parading as herdsmen from their communities, it states. I'd love to get your thoughts on this quickly, sir. Do you think this is something that will be that will actually work? Don't you think this will turn out to be a bloodshed situation? Because chasing these people out of a particular state will not be in an easy scenario. There's been a case where most of these herdsmen have killed a particular human being because their cattle was slaughtered. You know, with that situation of preferring cattle to the life of a human being, that kind of instance. And this coming from the youths that oftentimes they have noticed the continuous attack on their people and raping and killing of these innocent citizens in the states. I'm sure this is not the only states that is actually affected. Well, it's good that the Southeast youths have come up to speak up against this. And why up till now has the government not actually come into the situation and then individuals are letting to take justice by their hands?
Okay, I will start on a general note first, and that is to say that part of the misfortune of governance in these climes is that a lot of people that have opportunity to play certain roles in government practically see those opportunities or politics itself, leadership in the public space as a career. And they are busy trying to be politically correct. They are busy trying to put themselves in certain posture in the eyes of those they think have the capacity to sustain their ambition or their career. Otherwise, the state has all the apparatus to deal with these issues. They have the resources, they have the security, the almighty security votes, they have the intelligence, they have the human and material resources to deal with these matters. By the time non-state actors, individual citizens, begin to come together to issue this kind of warning, then you know they have endured enough. And this is practically a declaration of war. And it tells on the state. It means that the government is not doing what they ought to do. It means that the chief security officer is sleeping. Because this kind of news have been all over the place.
Yes.
And the problem is not that there are no Fulanis or headmen that do their businesses legitimately. But criminality is festering under. Wickedness is festering under. Some of the things they just described there, I cannot even bear to begin to want to repeat. The assault on women, very extreme and gory descriptions there. Those kind of things we have been hearing over and over and over. And any state government elected by the people with a promise to do the right thing by the people who elected them ought to be at the top of their game and make sure that these kind of things do not keep repeating. And the unfortunate thing is that when you ignore these kind of calls and the people go on to carry out their threats, it will lead to escalation.
Yes.
And from one state it could happen in another. and then you can have things get out of hand. So I want to call on the state government, the police, and all the agencies of the state to intervene and make sure that citizens live their lives in an atmosphere of peace and tranquility. That they should go about their businesses, legitimate businesses, and criminals should be apprehended and dealt with by the law. And all these things will come to an end.
Thank you so much on this. There's been an alleged statement that most of these herdsmen are foreigners that come from Chad, the neighboring countries, Niger, and all of that into the country and cause mayhem in Nigeria. And if we have to go to the north right now, we know the insecurity situation going on right in the north, and then as it stands, the leader of the Boko Haram terrorists has actually decided to make himself a known god to a point where he comes out in public and tax the citizens, to pay. There was an instance that happened that one of his men was taken by the armed force. So in retaliation, he had to tax the citizens for selling them out in Sokoto states. For that reason, they have to pay for the loss of one of his men. That kind of situation. And this particular individual has been roaming around the streets freely. The police actually, the military actually came out to say that we know where he is hiding. We know his hideout spots in the forest. We will track him. We're still waiting for him to be tracked. This instance, just like the herdsmen situation, this like you also rightly stated, this has been going on for a long time up till now. Why has nothing been done about it? Why are these foreigners being allowed into the country to cause mayhem, to destroy lives and properties of Nigerians? Why has the government not, decide to sit on their toes and say, okay, we're going to stop this once and for all?
There are a lot of issues connected in the question and the issues you have raised now. Any country in modern times that is unable to govern its borders, unable to control who comes in and goes out, is really not yet serious for governance. Because what that means, is that you don't know the people that you are responsible for.
Okay.
And anybody can come into your space, commit a crime, and go out. You can't be in control under that kind of circumstance. Let's break it down. If you, as a man, as a woman, you have a home, you live with your children, and your gates are perpetually open. Anybody can come in, stroll into your wife's kitchen, take food and eat, collect clothes, take the children's stuff, and walk away, and it's unchecked. What kind of family will that be? What kind of man will that be? What kind of planning will that man do in that atmosphere? What kind of commitment will you get from your children? Those children now can represent the citizens. Will they be happy? Will they feel responsible to the state? What will be their sense of patriotism? Because again, let's face it, no country in the world has capacity to actually effectively police its citizens without the active cooperation of the citizens. And the citizens can only actively cooperate with you if they are actually happy, if they believe in you. It is that sense of patriotism that will cause them to play their role as citizens. Do you know there's something they call citizen arrest? Citizens can actually apprehend a criminal and hand them over to the police. But they can only do that, they can only take that risk if they know that the apparatus of the state, the police itself, will do the right thing. And they will be protected. There will be no backlash after that time. So there are a whole lot of things connected. There's also the issue of politics. People having capacity to act on behalf of the people, failing to do it because they feel that certain personal or group interests will be jeopardized. If the army says they know where a criminal is hiding, to even say that publicly, then what is holding them? Is it that this non-state actor have become more powerful than the state? Is it that there are other things, powers from above restraining them? What are the issues? They are the only ones that can answer those questions. So there's a whole lot that is connected. But those who have made the conscious decision to be in governance and have asked for our power, our right, our votes, and we have voted and empowered them, should wake up and do the right thing. Because while the citizens are suffering for a season, it will also come to a time when they might be denied the opportunity to keep on playing those roles because they fail to use the power and the privileges rightly the first time.
Okay. Thank you on that. So quickly, I'll also ask you, in this instance that the Southeast youths have come to issue this ultimatum, 48-hour ultimatum, basically in 2 days. Imagine this Fulani herdsmen decide not to leave. And then probably the issue continues in the states, particularly the Enugu states. Like you talked about a disastrous situation that will occur. How do you think that will actually turn out really? We know it will be a disastrous situation. Let's say it gets to that point. Do you think that's when the government will want to sit up and decide to take the call into their hands?
I would not want to even imagine that the government will wait until the ultimatum time expires, until this group begin to fight openly before they come in, because then they might actually lose the initiative. So it's better that they step in as quickly as possible and first try to mediate between the groups, investigate these allegations, because these criminals can actually be fished out. Between the groups, in every community, even in our villages, those who even steal in the night, those days when we are growing up in the villages, somebody that does not own a goat, and suddenly the next morning he starts frying pepper soup and cooking goat meat. His immediate neighbors will perceive the smell and they'll be wondering, when did this man go to the market? Where did he be? And if they hear that goat is missing somewhere in the neighborhood, they can point and say, go and ask this man. No, he's been cooking goats since and we don't know where he got his goat from. So the communities actually have a lot of information.
Yes.
And groups do. If the government use their intelligence and intervene, we have enough trouble already. There's too much poverty, there's too much uncertainty, there's too much stress in the system, and so we don't need to add more to it.